What's up, everybody? Before you get into today's episode of Cosines and Tangents, I just have to shout out Anchor because it is by far the easiest way to start and create your own podcast. So let me explain. One, it is free. Also, there are several tools that you can use to record and edit your podcast right from your phone and your computer. Also, Anchor will distribute your podcast for you so you can be heard on Spotify, Apple, and many, many more. And you can make money by doing your podcast with no minimum listenership. Ain't that awesome? And you have everything at your fingertips. It is so easy. So, download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started now. What's up, everybody? This is your girl, Sana Wind. I may be your friend, I may be your foe. I don't know, but all I know is I'm happy to be with you. You are tuning in to another episode of Cosines and Tangents. And today I have one of my closest friends. We go way, way back to our college days, back in 2008-ish and beyond. And she's also not just a friend, but she's a business partner. So Ogechi, go ahead and just introduce yourself. Let the people know who you are, darling.
Hello, people. Sana has introduced me very nicely. Thank you, Sana. Like she said, that we were friends from undergrad. Um, I currently am a physical therapist by day and co-author of Adventures of Ada by night. Our second job, literally a job. I
Yes.
I went to University of UTC for undergrad, and then I went to East Tennessee State for grad school to get my physical therapy degree. Um, Born in Nashville, bred in Nashville, and I am a travel physical therapist now. Yeah, so I also have, I don't mention this, I have Nigerian roots, heritage. First generation Nigerian American.
Mm-hmm.
Um, I have a huge family. There's seven of us, and my parents. Or yeah,
Wonderful.
yeah.
Well, for those who don't know, we are actually recording this at 8 o'clock in the morning because when you hear this, who knows what time you're going to be listening to it. So we're recording at 8 o'clock in the morning. I just got off my 12-hour shift. I don't know what Getchy's up to, but I know she's drinking coffee. But we're here
Mhm.
to just talk to you all. Because I know I talked, I know I say a little bit about my third job technically, um, and that third job is The Adventures of Ada, which is the children's book that me and Ogechi decided to write. And I like telling this story. I like telling the real story of how the idea came about. Because, like, when we're talking to our customers, we give them, our spiel about wanting to teach, kids the right way. But the first agenda was we were trying to figure out how to release ourselves from the man. So I know. Okay, you tell them just how like you just called me up and you said Sana, and I was like, "What girl?" And
Yeah, that's pretty much how it went. I called her up after perusing through TikTok during the pandemic,
yep.
and and was like, Sana had been doing other creative things. Sana, as you know, if you're listening, you know that our girl is a creative person. So I was trying to ask her about, she had done t-shirts or something before, for her dad, who had passed, I think the year before or that year. Um,
I
and
think about
so it was,
2 years, yeah.
huh?
I think it was about 2 years, but time is
Was it?
I think so. Time is a construct, girl, so it goes any way that it wants to. But yeah, like
Real. Yeah.
yeah, I did the t-shirts and you like
Yeah.
Santa.
So, about this passive income, I just really wanted something that maybe would be cool, to maybe generate a passive income. And
Hmm.
so we started going through ideas. I had a paper and pen. We were talking through like the phone, like we normally do because we don't live close.
Right.
And so, I was just like, Sana, what can we do? I'm talking about, we went through a list,
Right.
but
We went
then,
through parking, trying to do parking for trucking, because I
mhm,
know that's something that's popping off, but it's just too complicated. And
mhm.
then I forgot what else you were thinking about.
I don't remember, girl, but I know what stuck.
I know, right? Adventures of Ida, because
Yeah.
basically you've always wanted to do a children's book about Africa, and I
Mhm.
just saw TikTok because both of us TikTok warriors out there. I saw this thing about this woman created handwriting and activity books for kids, and I was like, wow, that sounds like a cool idea. And I had one other friend I discussed about it, but she didn't have the capacity to do it at the time. And so me and Ogechi just took it and ran with it. And we said, well, I've always wanted to do an activity book. And you were like, I want to do a storybook. I said, why don't we combine them? Let those powers combine. And we created The Adventures of
Uh,
Ada.
yeah.
But I want you to tell people like who Ada is, like who is she patented off of? Because I know like a lot of people I like to tell we like to tell the tidbit when we're talking to people in person, but a lot of people don't know that Ada is actually really close to your heart.
Yeah. So the book is inspired by my niece, Adanya. That's the full name, but for short, we call her Ada. I guess it might be like a love story to her, because the Ada, in the book is a little girl, little brown girl,
Mhm.
who lives in, who's from the United States, lives in Texas, and so does my niece. My niece lives in Texas too.
Mhm.
And I was just looking at her one day and my niece, and I was like, she's just such an amazing person. She's so caring and she's so compassionate. And it's crazy that the world doesn't know. Sometimes you just be looking at people and be like, man, this is crazy that the world doesn't know that this person is like an amazing person.
Mhm.
So that's where I got it from. Like, oh, I will be inspired off
Mhm.
of her. I mean, it's not technically her in the book. Her parents do something different. Like, she does have the similarities. She does have a little brother named Bucci, and so does our character
Yeah.
has a little brother named Bucci. But I just think that important also for her to see a little brown girl and brown boy that looks like her too.
Right.
Um, and I think the book is based off of a girl in America, and they travel the whole continent of Africa with her parents. And I thought that was extremely important for kids to know about, the continent and the different countries in Africa,
Right.
um, so that we can see what actually Africa's about.
Exactly. Because I know the thing is we bonded over is I know we both grew up not hearing the best things about Africa. And you being a person who's experienced Africa firsthand can educate so many of us who have not had a personal connection with Africa. And so we both were like, we want to teach kids and their parents the right way, the way that we should have been taught. Well, me as an American person who is American born, who we grew up seeing the huts and the dirt roads and the little babies with the extended stomachs. And so we didn't get a chance
Hmm.
to see that view. And I knew as you grew up, you had the opposite, but you still got some of that negativity. And I hate saying it, but
Hmm.
it's the African booty scratcher. And
Hmm.
I hated how we felt about people with darker skin because that was also like I feel big because of white supremacy and how it's so pervasive in our country. And I think with George Floyd and the pandemic, we were just at home and we had so much time to like consider our blackness and consider ourselves. And so I think with Ada, I feel a great connection with her, even though I haven't met the real life Ada. I feel a connection with her because it's like I'm getting a chance to experience Africa the way I wish I could have. And so that's what we really wanted, and the goal started to develop. And it became more of we wanted to make the passive income, but then it became a labor of love. And we just like, we fell in love with her. We wanted to see her thrive and the family and Bucci. And just, I'm just proud of us. I don't know where I was going. I'm sorry. I went on a ramble. My bad. But, this is, if it's, since you've been listening to me for a while, you know that I like to talk.
That's the tangent part, and that's
That's the,
okay.
exactly. I put the tangent in cosines and tangents, baby. But what are some of the things like I think people will be interested in just some of the process it took. And I'm going to tell you, spoiler alert, y'all, that this was not a quick, fast, and easy process.
Not at all. TikTok lies.
Uh-huh, they lied. It's
Yeah.
not that easy. So
Not for an independent author like
correct.
we are,
Exactly. And as self-published business women, we first had to, well, just to kind of give y'all like how it came about. So after me and Ogechi had this wonderful meeting, I had the creative spark. And me being a person who is ADD, I hyper fixated real hard on that on the pictures of,
Mm-hmm.
and that next day I literally came back with a rough draft. And Ogechi, I remember you was like, "Oh my God." And I was like, "Girl, I was
Yeah.
inspired."
Yeah, she was. And honestly, if she hadn't done that, I probably wouldn't be here today. Like,
Oh, really?
true talk. Like,
Okay.
I was like, oh, she's serious.
Oh, I was, because it was like we had a plan. Like I think
Yeah.
what really had me is like I have all these ideas, but I need somebody to funnel me because I will go all over the world and never get anything done. And I think that's why we work, because I can be a little bit of a flighty bird, and then but you be like, nah, girl, come on back. And I'm like, thanks, girl.
Yeah, we do have our times. Like I told you before, I am a single lady,
Hmm.
but I definitely understand what a true uh partnership is because of you. So, yeah,
Thanks, girl. Same, like
yeah.
and just kind of jumping because I know we're jumping all over the place.
Mhm.
The one thing I enjoy about our partnership is that we truly became, I think, even closer friends. Like
Yeah.
I love getting like the random calls from you, but then we be on the same wavelength at times where we like, I just want to talk versus this is a meeting, and you will quickly we be
Mhm.
like, girl, this is just a talk. I was like, oh, bet, woo, because I ain't done nothing today.
Definitely. Definitely.
I,
Yeah.
I love
I
that.
like that.
Me
I
too.
do
It's
too.
the communication. It was the communication for me and the vulnerability. So I think we both allowed
Yeah.
each other to be very vulnerable.
Yeah. And to go with I mean, life is too short,
Hmm.
so
Yeah.
why not? Why stress ourselves?
Exactly. Well, let me ask you this: what is some of from this process besides by helping you be good in relationships? I didn't know that. But what are some other things that you learned from this process of like being because a self-published, we're self-published authors, and we are business owners. Sometimes that just dawns on me like randomly throughout the night. I'm like, I own a business.
That's a very good question. What
Mhm.
have I learned through this process besides from partnership? I think that was my biggest test,
Mhm.
honestly. But also, also, I guess I learned how to write a book. I had no idea the process. I have never wanted in my life to write a book ever. The reason why I've, done this is because I'm passionate about the story being told.
Mhm.
And so I think I've learned um, the processes of how to do one. I'm still learning.
Oh yes,
Um,
we are.
yeah, I think that that's a thing that I've learned, that it's okay, not to know everything. I should just take a chill pill because, I am one of those people like, in the beginning of this, I was like, it's got to be this way. It needs to be this way. If it's
Mm-hmm.
not, then I feel like a failure. You
Mm-hmm.
know, I've learned, especially this year, because this is our second year.
Mm-hmm.
Um, not everything has to be perfect. Life happens. So when life happens, it's okay.
Yeah,
Just continue to try your best. You're only one person.
exactly. And I know with this year, you definitely had a hard year, and
Mm,
but I think you have handled this year so gracefully,
thank
with
you.
still finding time to finding time to take care of the things that you have been going through at home, and then still making time for the book. And I really appreciate you just really trusting me and our partnership to know that I was going to get it done regardless. And I felt like that was really hard for you to let that control go.
Yes, definitely hard, but like when you're tired.
Mhm.
Okay, so this backstory, what me and Saina are referencing is that I did lose my father this year,
Mhm.
which has been very tough. And I got into a car accident. There's a lot of things transitional happening, lots of
Yeah.
moving, job changes, etc.
Yeah.
Um, so
Life was lifing real hard.
real hard.
Mhm.
And I was so tired. Usually, I have like anxiety to the 10. And my anxiety, I feel like sometimes gets the best of me, and I can't just relax. But I've
Mhm.
also found that when I relax, the best work sometimes happens.
Yeah.
Um, Now, just comparing, I'm gonna do a side note. From I'm a physical therapist. When I You have to interview to get into physical therapy school. My
Mhm.
anxiety was so bad that I was not passing my interviews, right?
Mm.
My last interview, I had 2 interviews, one in California and one in Johnson City, Tennessee. So I flew to California. The California one, let's say that was Saturday. My Johnson City one was Sunday.
Oh
So
Lord.
I took a red eye from California to Johnson City to do my interview. I was so I was really nervous on the California one.
Mhm.
I like failed it because my mind was like, but I was so tired from that flying interview that when I went to Johnson City, I was relaxed so I could answer my questions, right?
Mhm.
And I
Hey.
got in, right, I got into that school.
Right.
I was so tired from this year that I had to realize just to relax, right?
Mm. Yeah.
So, and to hand some over to Sana, you know, right?
Yeah.
But
It's a
in the
process.
process, you know, I we also put together a really good, I think, a really good version of our next book through this
Yes.
process. I sat down, I did a rough draft, I was like,
Mhm.
Dana, what do you think? We came up with some ideas together, but I think in this process of me being tired, we came out with a really good product for our next book, Adventures of Otta in Kenya.
I agree. I agree. I feel like it's just going to get better and better. And kind
Mm,
of going back into just a quick side note to when we were going through this process of learning how to write these books and doing KDP, which is the Kindle Direct Publishing. One of the videos talked about that one, this is not a quick get rich quick thing, and you have to
mm-mm,
snowball. And so by snowballing, I mean by continuously to put out product and putting out quality product. And I definitely, from reading it over and over again and letting people look at the activity book and our storybook, the product is even better quality and even better story. Because I know, like, one of our phone calls, we were like, man, what if we could make this into like a Harry Potter journey or just some kind of life lessons? And I was like, that'd be so cool, like, to just develop her. And so with this book, just giving y'all some sneak peeks, we're trying to develop the person who Ada is, as well as her parents, and trying to get the story not only just like a tour guide of Kenya, but we also want virtues or moral stories, and but nothing where it's like shoving it down your throat, but just like easy tales of communication, loneliness, parents looking out for their children, and and teamwork. So I'm just so excited and proud of where Adventures of Ada in Kenya is, and then the next book and the next book, and just I'm just proud of us. Like, I'm just so excited.
Definitely very proud of
Mhm,
us. I think this book was amazing. Both of them, the children's book and the activity book.
mhm.
I honestly also I will tout on our activity book a little bit
Yes,
because
that
our
was the
activity
original
book,
brainchild.
our activity book, I feel like has gotten it has more features in it than our last one. And
Right.
I think our Nigerian activity book was amazing because
Hmm.
that was our first product. But the Kenya one,
Yes.
honey,
Yes.
I'm just gonna tell you, it is amazing.
Right. And because we talked to some of our people in education, and they talked about having the fine motor skills. Those are that's very important for the age ranges that we focus on. Because just to kind of go back, I feel I'm sorry, y'all. Y'all know I be jumping. To go back again, the Adventures of Ada saga or series, they're broken up into two books. So you have your story, which is giving you all the details of who Ada is. And then we have the activity book, which also still tells a story, but it's more interactive. It's trying to engage the child from page one, where we introduce the word of like hello, which is like Kendu in Igbo, and then we go to jumbo in Swahili. And so we're interacting with that. We want the child to be interacted with throughout the whole book. And Kenya, we take Kenya by storm, honey. I'm just so excited for people to read it. So try not to give any spoilers, because I'm the spoiler queen. I
um, saying I love you, but I just gonna say one thing. It's Kedu and Ibo High.
Thank you.
Sorry,
It's
that's all.
okay. That's why we wrote the book. Hey, do my bad. I'm
Yeah,
learning too. Everybody, that's why you're gonna get the Adventures of Ada in Nigeria, and we're gonna get the Adventures of Ada in Kenya, so you can learn and be
definitely.
curious, and you know that Africa is a continent, not a
Not.
country.
There we go.
So
There we go.
it's a great thing, and I'm looking forward to our next book. Do we want to tell people about where we're going for the third book, or we want to try to keep that in the vault?
No, that's fine. We can tell people so they can get excited.
Yes,
You want to do it or you want me to do it?
you go do it. You do it. You go.
Okay. Well, we're headed to Ghana.
Woo!
Yeah. I'm excited.
I'm so
I've
excited.
honestly never been to Ghana,
Hmm.
but I'm definitely wanting to go, and it's my inspiration. I feel like, first off, if you're African American, like, so everybody's wanting to go. Most of that's the consensus. We going to Ghana. And Ghana is having, I don't know if they've stopped, but I think they are doing citizenship
Hmm.
for African Americans. I
Right.
was contemplating, I have a Nigerian citizenship, but I was contemplating, I was like, well, why not? I could have triple citizenships.
Right. I know, because I was like, how do I do that? I wish I would have took advantage of it. I think they're still doing it, but I know it was very I don't want to say popular, but it was super. I'm just gonna say popular for the lack of a better phrase.
It was.
during this because it was 2019 because and that was
Mm-hmm.
correlating with the 400th year anniversary or
Yep.
remembrance of slavery. So from the first,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, man, I want to go. And we
Mm-hmm.
all, I don't know if we all know, but I want to just shout out Black Panther because I think that reinvigorated Black Americans' desire to have a connection with
Mm-hmm.
Africa and learn more. Even though it's a fictional place, I'm glad they kind of woke us up and be like, yeah,
Wakanda is a fictional place. Yes.
yes, Wakanda is a fictional place. You're right. Not Africa. It's real, y'all. We came from it. We all derived from the motherland. But
Yeah.
but I was like, how did you feel about that? Like just kind of just going off a little bit of
um,
a tangent. Like, were you like finally about time y'all got hip?
so I feel like it was brewing before Wakanda, and people just. So the only reason why I say this is because I mean, because I played both worlds, right?
Right.
I definitely played the Afrobeat scene, and I felt like before Wakanda, it was on the edge. It was just there. It was brewing. There was a lot of African lounges and clubs popping up everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't as visual for people um to like that weren't looking, right?
Mm-hmm.
So, but they were there, like African food markets. Like the thing is, like I'm in, or my base is in Nashville, Tennessee. Nashville, Tennessee is real. What's the word I'm looking for? That's politically correct.
Nigeria.
Real. No, it's real. Caucasian. We'll say that. I don't know if that's even correct. You
What
know what
was
I'm saying, though.
what was the word you said? Real what?
Caucasian.
Oh yeah, I think that's good because it is,
Yeah.
and I think
Yeah.
if anybody knows, like Nashville is super white. I'd say
Yeah. Yes. Tennessee in general, except for Memphis.
right.
But yeah. Um
It's true.
so yeah, so country music's a thing, but like
Mm-hmm.
even in Nashville before it popped off, Wakanda popped off, Black Panther popped up, we were still vibing to Afrobeat. There
Right.
was clubs in Nashville. That's what I'm saying. There was like
Did not
three
know that.
in
Right.
Nashville. Yeah, before. So it was brewing it, and then when Wakanda hit, people started seeking. People that had never thought about it started seeking it out.
Right.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that it was always going to happen. Me personally, because um Nigeria, it's like the most, well, I'm just talking about Nigeria, but it's the most populated country in Africa,
Mm-hmm.
really. So like there's too many of us. We're always doing something, making something. Like
Mm-hmm.
I know now people have seen like all these Nollywood videos on Netflix, right?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, but the thing is, we were doing Nollywood a long time ago, right? And
Right.
it was slowly brewing, but y'all are just seeing them now, right?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
Right.
I don't know.
And just fun facts, I love how you basically talked about some of the things we put in our first book, Adventures of Ada. And we
Yeah.
learned, well, I learned, I know you probably already knew, but we're
Mm-hmm.
trying to like we wanted to make comparisons to America. That way it's relatable for the kids because I think that's what some of our teacher friends stated is just relatability, comparing and contrasting and seeing how things are not as different as they may think. But I agree with you. I think like because going back to the Nigeria versus Nashville, is Black Panther really even it was coming on the map. I was watching more things with more African characters, but I feel like when Wakanda Forever or Black Panther popped up, it was like boom, I'm African and proud.
Yeah, I feel like it was on the. I was like
It was on the cusp, it was
always.
bubbling.
It was bubbling, but
Hmm.
Wakanda just opened the lid,
Yeah.
or Black Panther did. Like, yeah, definitely, definitely, definitely. Like, even because before that, I would like before Wakanda, I would have people that would be like, yeah, my name is like, I don't know, Jaquan, but I'm about to change my name.
Oh, for
And I'm
real?
like, what? Yeah, like, what you change your name to? They'd be like, I don't know, Kunta Kinte. I don't know, just making something up.
Girl,
But,
stop. No, I did not know.
yeah, people would come up to me and do stuff like that. And I'd be like, okay, well, good for you.
Right.
Or, like when I was in college,
Mm-hmm.
I belonged to the Black Student Alliance.
Right. Yes.
And there was one, I'm not gonna say names because I don't know this person listening, but there was one person in particular that was always like treated me a little bit better than the rest of the group. And I think it's just because I was African, if that makes sense. And she'd
What?
always, yeah, definitely. She'd be
You
like,
know, I'm
hey,
gonna
hey,
ask off air.
that's fine. I'm not sure if you know her, but
Okay.
yeah, she'd be like, "Hey, sister," and I'd be like, "Hey," and she really, but she didn't call anybody else really that, and she really like, for some reason, she thought that I was like, I'm black and I'm proud, but I'm not like militant, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
And I felt like she wanted me to be,
because you were
because I
African.
was, yeah, and I was just like, no, I mean, I'm black and I'm proud now.
She wanted your last name to be Ogechi X, and not she
Right.
wanted she wanted you to
So
rock the black berets and just
yeah, I was just like, I'm here to learn about myself. I'm here to learn about everything.
right.
So yeah, but I can't. I just didn't know how to get on her level yet. That's all.
Because I get it. Because back when we were in college, I was still straightening my hair. I was still putting perm in
Hmm.
it. I wasn't rocking the natural. I wasn't as I now wish I would have went to a HBCU instead of a PWI just to have more of a different black experience, because I think we're just now learning that black is not a monolith and it's not the same. So I
Hmm.
kind of wish I would have gotten the chance to see different types of black people sooner, instead of like waiting damn near 10 years to have more of an influx and a resurgence of this interest in who we are and who we could have been. And so that's why I'm kind of like, I'm happy that our whatever Gen Z or after Gen Z, Gen Alpha, are now seeing themselves. And I realized that I am still a little jealous that they get to see themselves a lot more than we did. But I'm happy that we are
Yeah.
part of the solution now. With
Yeah,
the adventures about
definitely.
it. Yeah.
I agree with that. I am a little jealous that they see themselves more, but I think it is important for them to. Yeah, I totally agree with that because we didn't get it that much. Okay, so that's kind of true, but not true. So
It's
I
like we had
yeah,
stuff and then it was taken away. But what were you gonna say?
yeah. I mean, okay, so I lived basically a couple worlds
Mm,
when I was younger, right?
okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Tell me,
So
give me the tea.
I life was different for me because
Okay.
I am African American, but I also am African, right?
Right.
So when I was at a younger age, maybe like 5 or 7, I went to Nigeria. Didn't think anything of it. I just thought it was whatever,
Hmm.
right?
Right.
Then I went back and like if you're a kid, you adapt to whatever.
Hmm.
But then I went back and when I was 13, and then we started going back yearly, but or some type of adolescence, like early teens. But yeah, when I went back from the first time that I could for real remember, honestly, it was a culture shock to me.
What, America or
No,
Nigeria?
Nigeria. Yeah, it
Okay.
was a culture shock to me. I said,
Hmm.
look at all these black people. I was,
That's crazy.
what's going on here? There's too many. I was
Not is
very,
too many.
yeah. Here's the thing. Now,
Hmm.
and that's honest. But I wouldn't have it any other way now. Like,
Right.
it is like the best thing in the world to see your people, like, and to feel comfortable.
Right.
Like, I would encourage people that are thinking about going but not sure to go, even if you're not black. guys, even if you don't have that hue, just go learn
Right.
about it. I would encourage everybody because it is an amazing thing to see.
Ex-
It is
and
so cool.
and I feel like that would be because like I get where you use like culture shock. I came from the opposite. Like I grew up with nothing but black people in Memphis. So but and I was more culture shocked with seeing all these white people in Chattanooga being all friendly because Memphis white people are not friendly. I ain't gonna lie. But anyway, I digress. But the one thing
Not all of them. Let me save you.
not
Yeah,
all.
yeah. Let's put a disclaimer on that. I'm saving you.
Exactly. Because the one thing I want
Okay.
to mention is about our book is that we don't play into politics or anything like that.
Hmm.
But and we try to make it because we grew up with white kids on our books, like I grew up with
Yeah.
by everybody, when there was an occasional black kid we'll get it, but it was always white kids or bears. And
Yeah.
so I
Definitely.
we and the one thing we really wanted to stress is that this book is for everyone. Like I sold the books
Definitely.
to like our last vendor event, I sold the books to a Muslim family. They were from Egypt. And they were like, "Oh, this is
Aw.
Africa. We're from Egypt." I was like, "Awesome." And then I think really this last vendor event was predominantly Caucasian, and I ended up selling a lot of the books. They were like so excited because they are the people who want to teach their kids about different cultures. And the one of the thing in our spiel we always talk about, we want to teach kids and their parents about Africa the right way because we all know
Mhm.
how we were taught when we were growing up. And
Mhm.
100% every time I say that one phrase, they be like, yeah, yeah. And not like I'm trying to guilt people because we're not
But
trying to
we
guilt
get it.
people,
Yeah.
but we get it because we grew up with the same misconceptions. And so we want everyone to buy this book. I've sold it to people who were of Hispanic descent, white people, black people. Everybody can learn from this book because it's about the human experience just through a brown girl's eyes, which is when you
Yeah.
think about it is no different from anybody's experience.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Like, just to talk more about my experience,
Hmm.
um, and the questions I've gotten when people talk to me about Africa,
Oh no.
they ask if I have a lion in my backyard.
Oh my gosh.
They ask me if I live in a hut. They'll ask me if I have floors on, like carpet on my floors when I go
Oh.
home.
Mm-hmm.
They ask me if I have pet monkeys.
Mm.
They'll ask me, I don't like just, oh, one person, I spent a night, like legitly, this is in my adult years.
Oh man. Okay.
Yeah. I spent the night over one of my Vietnamese friends' house and I took a shower twice that day. And the second shower, she asked me, she said that she didn't know that Africans took showers that many times.
Oh God. What?
So I
And
think
yeah.
my point
Mm-hmm.
is that, you know, you should, oh wait, one more. The same person also said one more. We went to like this festival, this Greek festival, and I didn't eat all my food. And she said, "Girl, you know there's starving people in your country." Yeah, she. So the thing is, my
Oh my
and
gosh.
I threw it back to her, and I was like, "Don't play because we both live. We're both from third world countries, so I don't
Mm.
understand why you're trying to throw this in my face." But anyways, yeah, my point is there is ignorance out there and
Right.
it doesn't just come from one race. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it's not just white people. It's
Mm-hmm.
and some of this stuff I've been getting from people of my same hue,
Yeah.
right?
I'm not surprised
So
because we are
yeah,
we are very ignorant about anything that's not in the United States, and we're still ignorant about what's going on in the United States. So anyway.
yeah. I mean, that's why the book to me is important. I'm in love with this story. I'm in love with Ada. I'm in
Hmm.
love with telling it
Yeah.
because it's important.
Right. And like to kind of piggyback off like what you're talking about with questions you've gotten, I not to
Hmm.
call one of my coworkers, she's a white lady and she has a very multicultural family, but she asked me, she said, please let me know if this is a bad question to ask. And the question she asked, she's like, niece is mixed. And she said, would it be and but I think her primary family is the white side. And she said, would it be wrong if I gave her this book? I was like, no. I was like, we want everyone to learn from this book, regardless of your hue, regardless of anything. And we don't play into we don't do any baiting. We just want people to learn about Africa and maybe learn some things about themselves through Ada. But I was
Definitely.
like, yeah. And I said, that wasn't a bad question, because that's one of the things I feel like with what's wrong with us as a people. We don't necessarily feel comfortable with asking the kind of ignorant questions, because they feel like they're going to get ridiculed. But I'm like, go ahead and ask the question so you can be de-ignified.
Yeah, definitely.
Learn. We gotta learn. And that's one thing, like, we want people to be curious. And I think this gets people curious about
Mm-hmm.
Africa. You're like, oh, I had a young boy at the last vendor event. I don't know if I told you this. He's like, I'm in the 6th grade and I have not heard of Africa before.
What?
Yes, honey.
Boy, those Tennessee educations. I love it.
Girl, I gave him the book for free. That reminds me, I'm gonna have to send $12 for the book. I said, huh, baby, you need this. I gave him the activity
Yeah.
book. He was so happy.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, thank you.
Yeah, I gotta say he did need that, girl.
Yeah,
Thank you.
girl. I said, I put that on Bitches about it. I go ahead and
Oh,
pay that.
good. I just confused now. I'm confused.
I was like, we need to keep writing these books for sure, for sure.
Oh Lord. Yes, we
So
do.
I know we're kind of coming into it, and it's really early for us. I could talk to you all day, because there's some questions I want to ask you off air, some tea.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, so just if we wanted to kind of give any advice to my listeners who are interested in self-publishing a book, what would be your main advice, or maybe top 3 things you would tell somebody if they want to venture into the self-publishing arena?
um, I would say one, definitely seek help when needed. We know we don't have skills in drawing, so we went to Fiverr
Mm-hmm.
and got an illustrator, right?
Right. Who is
Well,
African also, which I'm very proud
yes.
to say too.
So definitely seek help when needed. Don't do it all by yourself if you don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
My second advice would probably be patience.
Mm,
It's a virtue.
yes.
Yeah, it's definitely a virtue. Yeah, good. It's gonna be a long road, but the end result will be beautiful.
Yeah.
Um, yeah. And my third and last advice, let's see. Um, let's see. I think I would just say to trust in the process. I think maybe that'll be it. Like,
Mm-hmm.
don't let people get in your mind and say,
Mm-hmm.
"Oh, that person can't do it," or they're not serious. Like, just stay focused.
Right.
Basically, is like trust in the process and stay focused.
Mm-hmm.
Just see it through. If you say you're gonna do something, then do it.
Yes.
If that makes sense. Not tomorrow, not in a couple days. Do it now. You
Mm-hmm.
know.
Right. I agree. Let's see. I would add communication. Don't if you're Especially if you're gonna do it with a partner. I suggest doing it with a partner, just because having Ogechi to like bat off ideas, and we talk, and just really getting close to you as a friend really helps
Mm-hmm.
me mental health wise and just energy wise, and getting to know you even better, and just having that communication piece. um,
Mm-hmm.
Research marketing to a point where it's obsessive.
Yes. True.
We're still working on that, so give yourself grace. And also staying in the present. Like, I think I think I had to ground you sometimes because I'd be like so excited about like the small things, and you'd be like,
Mm-hmm.
"That's not perfect." I was like, "But we did it."
Yeah, that's true.
I was like, "But we did it. We usually don't get past the idea stage." And so that's one thing I will definitely partake into, those in wanting to get into the self-publishing. And okay, so I have one more question.
Hmm.
And I think this is a better this is a funner, less heavy question.
Okay.
I feel. What has been your favorite moment um since we started this journey together?
Mm. I think the favorite moment was seeing the the book done.
Mm-hmm.
When the first book was done completely, I think I cried.
Oh, I don't think you told
Yeah,
me that.
yeah. No, I was in tears when I saw it. Yeah,
Oh man.
that was my favorite moment because I didn't like you just keep going, but
Mm-hmm.
like me seeing the end was just beautiful. Like it was and I mean honestly, I felt the same way when I saw the second activity book. I
Yeah.
mean, it's beautiful. Like all that work that you do, and you just hope that it's gonna be what you want it to be, and
Mm-hmm.
when it is, like you're just like, damn, I did that. Like,
Right.
wow.
I'm still in shock. Like I was counting the books in the car, just redoing our inventory, and I was
Mm.
like, "Man, this is a physical manifestation of an
Mhm.
idea that we completed.
Yeah,
It's
definitely.
crazy."
It is very crazy. What's your favorite part?
Okay, so my favorite memory, of course, I
Uh-huh.
love seeing the books, but it was when we did our first vendor event.
Mm.
And that little girl, you probably remember her. She
Oh, I
found out
do.
yeah, she was
Mm.
like, I think I'm African. And we're like,
Yeah.
okay. And she's like, I think I'm Nigerian. And then her daddy
Mm.
came over and she said, Dad, am I Nigerian? And he said, yeah, yeah. She's like, I knew it, I knew it, I knew it. And she was so excited. And I'm just getting
Mhm.
chills thinking about it. Because we were like, that was our first event. We were plumb tuckered. We were exhausted. And we were in the car and we just
Mhm.
debriefing. And I said, I think that was probably like the moment that like pushed us forward to do the second book. Because I think we
Mhm.
were just like really tired and we made we did really good. I think because we sold a lot of books, man. We were pulling everybody to that table. We were like, you like
We
children's
were.
books? But like it wasn't like we just sold out and but we sold well. But that moment,
Well,
seeing that girl feeling represented and being like, I'm African and being excited, we were like, oh, we did it for her. We did it for
mhm.
her.
Definitely, definitely, definitely.
Yeah. So, whew, well, girl, I think we have come to the end of our episode. I usually also ask this on my normal episodes of podcasts with my guests. When and this is another question. I thought it was the last one. I'm sorry. I'm long. I'm long winded. This is the last
Okay.
question, I promise. When did you fall in love with your blackness?
Ooh, that's a deep one.
Mm.
I would say, um, it
College?
would have to be end of, yeah, it had to be end of high school, beginning of college, and
Mm,
that was a beginning to fall in love. Like, because I feel like if you fall in love with your blackness, you also have to fall in love with yourself as
right.
well, because it's the one and the same, right? So well, my background, my history, I've been to a lot of very white schools. My high school had probably like maybe a handful of black people. There was probably like five or six
Mm,
in my senior class. So it was a lot of different standards of beauty, right?
mm-hmm.
But, I still thought, and it's crazy because, like, in my high school, I didn't think I was pretty. But when I would go to Nigeria, everybody would tell me I was pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And that was a mind fuck too, right?
Yeah.
So you had to, like, but when I got into college and had black friends, I had white friends. I started purposely seeking out African history,
Mm,
right?
mm-hmm.
And learning more about myself and what that meant, and accepting the fact that I probably wasn't the average American standard of beauty.
Mm-hmm.
I started falling in love with the blackness, like, and started listening to things that were just black and being okay with it.
Mm,
Like, it's a process,
yes.
honestly. Yeah, it was probably like I loved being Nigerian,
Yes.
and I love being a American, but like it did not hit me that I loved blackness until then. It took
Mm,
that. Yeah.
yeah.
It's yeah, and it's still like I'm still enjoying being black.
Yeah.
Like, if that makes, like, I love it.
I know you do, just from just talking to you. Now, I want to say this, and I hope doesn't trigger you. Is something I noticed at your father's funeral.
Mhm.
And for those who don't know, like, Nigerian funerals are a celebration of life. And it was really
Mhm.
beautiful. But that was actually like the first time, like, when you were doing the things to honor your father, I saw you like being like really African. Like I know you're African, but I've never seen you be like African African. I don't know if that
Like,
helps describe
traditional. You saw
traditional,
tradition.
wearing
Yeah.
more of the traditional garb and just doing the
Mhm.
traditional things to honor your father. I was like, you better go, girl. I was just so proud. I was just so happy to see you doing that, because I've always knew you always embraced your Nigerianness, but I've never seen it. I never got a
Mhm.
chance to like come to um like any
Like
like
a
weddings or
function.
something just to see it. So I
Mhm.
was like, you better go. I was like, that's my little African princess.
You're silly. Yeah, I mean, definitely. I embrace my Nigerian side. I
Mhm.
embrace my African American side.
Yes.
I embrace all of it wholeheartedly.
Yes, honey. Well, I think you are an amazing, amazing person. I'm thankful to have you as my friend and book partner, and I'm so excited for Adventures of Ada and beyond. Well, thank you so much for coming on my show, Boo, and I will definitely we'll be talking tomorrow probably. And thank you for listening to another wonderful episode of Cosigns and Tangents. And as always, my beautiful people and cousins out there, I love you and bye bye.